So good evening. On behalf of CoSA BC, a warm welcome to all of you. The staff of CoSA are going to be your MCs tonight. We're going to start by introducing ourselves. I'm Maureen Donegan, and I coordinate the virtual circles and the circles from Surrey to Hope.
I'm Anita Tatro-Callahan, and I'm coordinating the Vancouver CoSA circles.
Hello, I'm Angela, and I help with the volunteers and administrative support. So we'd like to welcome a few guests here with us this evening. First, I'd like to start with one of CoSA's key supporters, Archbishop Miller of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Vancouver. Could you please stand?
Although we started off this evening by introducing the staff and honored guests, we want to point out that CoSA is a volunteer-driven program and that the role of the staff is to support the real work of CoSA, and that work is done by the volunteers. Many of our volunteers are here tonight, and would you believe that some of them have been volunteering for 22 years? Can you believe 22 years? We are grateful to them and to all of our CoSA volunteers. For any of you who are new to CoSA, CoSA stands for Circles of Support and Accountability. It's a community-based program where 3 to 4 volunteers support and hold accountable a person who has been released from prison. We call this person our core member. Since the start of our CoSA program in 2003, we have had over 300 circles for male, female, transgendered, non-binary, as well as BIPOC core members. We currently have circles for 41 core members, 13 reside in Vancouver, 10 in Abbotsford, 8 in Surrey, and 3 in Chilliwack. We have 7 virtual circles for core members who reside in Victoria, Nanaimo, and 1 in Edmonton. We currently have 108 volunteers. 92 sit on circles supporting the core members, and 16 on the board and committees. All of this is only possible because of our amazing volunteers. The past year has been a year of really good news and some bad news. First, the bad news. Sadly, in December, we lost Tina as coordinator of the CoSA program. And then recently we learned that after many years of financial support from the Correctional Service of Canada, that due to cutbacks, our contract would not be renewed. But there was also some really good news. Several new board members who are committed and full of new ideas joined us. Anita, who you just heard from, a longtime volunteer who knows the program inside and out, joined our staff to help oversee the Vancouver circles. Finally, and most importantly, the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Vancouver increased their financial contribution. Great, great news. We are very grateful. And as always, the ongoing good news. We have an amazing program, a program worth celebrating, and that's what we're going to do tonight. So that brings a close to the update, and I would like to just begin our program before dinner Over the years, CoSA has been recipient of several provincial civil forfeiture grants, for which we are grateful. But perhaps even more, we are grateful for the cooperation of the probation officers we work with, who you've just been introduced to. We are privileged to have 6 of them here with us tonight. And I would like to introduce to you one of them, Haya Volunteer, who will share a message from Provincial Corrections. Please help me welcome Haya.
Thank you for the introduction, Maureen. I appreciate the opportunity to share a few words. My probation officer colleagues and I are thankful for CoSA and the vital role they play in our communities. From personal involvement, clients we supervise benefit immensely from the support of the volunteers in their respective circles. Clients come to appointments with positive experiences to share about the support, compassion, and empathy they receive from their group. Often, their experience was the one positive detail they could speak to, especially in the beginning when setting up a foundation for their restoration into the community. As clients gained more stability, the circle was often referred to as a strong source of support, where their attitudes would be challenged and positive behaviors were recognized and supported. From a professional standpoint, creating connections like this is imperative. Our jobs are easier and more rewarding with CoSA's involvement. While our duties include monitoring court-ordered conditions and providing documentation to the courts when violations occur, a much more fulfilling aspect of the job is being part of the change process. Supporting and encouraging growth that all persons can achieve is what keeps us engaged. Small things like meeting up for coffee or taking time to have conversations are valuable moments that core members tell us are important to them. These moments help to reduce the probability of reoffending and provide opportunities to help guide clients to make healthy choices, both for themselves and the communities they live in. A sincere thank you to everyone in this room for volunteering and being involved with CoSA. We are all one community and share similar goals. By showing compassion, empathy, and support, you are improving the lives of core members and the communities we are all a part of. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Haya. I'd like to now ask Archbishop Miller to come up and bless the food, as well as share a message of hope with us. Since 2009, Archbishop Miller has attended all of our annual banquets. That's really something. He has been a cornerstone for CoSA in Vancouver. He has always supported our core members and as well all of our volunteers. CoSA is ever so grateful for his continued support of our work. Archbishop Miller.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Oops. Thanks very much, Anita. And I must say, this is always a wonderful event, particularly to hear the testimonies of the core members and the volunteers. And an event such as this reminds me that when faith-based groups, community groups, and government groups kind of come together, that they really are able to achieve wonderful things. And CoSA is one of those wonderful contributions to the life of our wider community, of which we should all be very proud. I'm certainly proud of and indeed humbled by the work that CoSA does. And I admire so much the volunteers and the core members in what is really a tremendous good work in the life of our common family, in the life that we all share.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to stand here before you at this annual CoSA banquet, celebrating the incredible work of volunteers and the core members who are really working together to rebuild lives. And it's really life-saving stuff that is going on here. You are the embodiment of hope and transformation as a group. I'll be frank with you, I never planned to get involved with CoSA. When I first heard of it, I didn't want to get involved. I didn't have any very specific thoughts. It was just something that I didn't think I wanted to participate in. But then 3 things changed my mind. Number 1 was the gospel reading, Matthew 25:36. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. But that wasn't enough. That was certainly stirred my thinking in this area, and I spent a lot of time thinking about it. Then I noticed that a lot of the volunteers were women, and often the very ones who might be hurt by the actions of some of the folks that they were actually helping. And they showed up with grace and strength, and that actually convicted me. But that wasn't enough. Finally, a good friend of mine had stepped up and asked if I would join him. And the thought of working with a team to accomplish something together finally was the last piece I needed to step in and help. And that is what I found, a fantastic opportunity for teamwork. Doing something hard with a group of exceptional people is perhaps the best satisfaction anyone can ask for in life, and that's why I'm here. Volunteers, you lived out that verse every day, stepping into hard places to say you are not forgotten. Core members, this banquet honors those society might dismiss, but God calls precious. You show us that helping those most in need isn't just kindness, but it's justice and it's love. Tonight we gather not just to celebrate, but to secure the future of this life-changing work. I stand here proof that hearts can be shifted. Monsignor Smith called this apostolic work, which is a rare opportunity to contribute time, talent, and treasure to a mission that echoes Christ's own heart. CoSA consists, as Maureen had said, of about 100 volunteers and roughly, give or take, 50 core members at any time. It varies. Nearly all of our $150,000 per year budget goes to salaries of 2 part-time and 1 full-time staff who help organize us volunteers. We take pride in being responsible stewards of donor dollars, and we rely on the funds largely coming from the Archdiocese and Correctional Services of Canada, and some grants from private donors. However, late last year, we lost the funding from the Correctional Service, but we've not given up on this source of funding over time. But we face a financial gap that, quite frankly, the Archdiocese has jumped in to fill with a generous contribution. Our objective is to have stable, balanced funding between the Archdiocese, Correctional Service, and patrons. So we're seeking patrons for CoSA, annual supporters committed to sustaining this sacred work. Please help us raise awareness by sharing our mission with your friends and colleagues. Really, raising awareness of CoSA is half the battle. And there will be baskets that are going to be passed around later in the evening for some support. So we thank you very much for coming and for your generosity and coming here with your time and for being here and standing with us on this mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. It's so good to have our next speaker with us. It is thanks to him and the regional management team that CoSA has had the moral and financial support of the Correctional Service of Canada for many years. The management team and the parole officers are there for us on a daily basis, helping us in any way they can. They're always willing and ready to support the CoSA program. So without their leadership and support, CoSA just wouldn't be where it is today. So please help me to welcome Dennis Hurst, who is the Area Director for Metro Vancouver West.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Herbst. I'm the Area Director overseeing the Vancouver Parole District for the Correctional Service of Canada. So tonight, I'm pleased to be here, and on behalf of our Acting Regional Deputy Commissioner, Brooke Casson, and our Community Corrections District Director, Barb Van Voot, I can bring some words of greeting and thanks to the CoSA group and the volunteers here tonight. So it's my pleasure to be here. I wanted to offer a word of thanks to Archbishop Miller, in particular as well, for your ongoing support and leadership to CoSA over the many years, particularly in making the Vancouver Fraser Valley CoSA chapter the largest and I think the most successful one in the country. So thank you to Archbishop Miller as well. To the CoSA volunteers, yes. The real reason we're here tonight is to recognize the great work of the CoSA volunteers and the hard work being put in by the core members who they support. To the volunteers in particular, congratulations to each of you for your positive influence on improving the lives of those in our care and custody by helping them to reintegrate into our communities. CoSA volunteers give freely of their time in the name of service, and in doing so provide mentorship, guidance, and support for the betterment of our communities. Your examples of leadership, compassion, and acceptance speak to our shared humanity and one's potential to change. As Martin Luther once said, Martin Luther King Jr., everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. CoSA volunteers are more than just volunteers. You are servant leaders in the community, leaders with hearts full of grace for the marginalized, wanting to make a positive difference in the lives of individuals who have committed sexual offenses in particular. You are leaders who inspire through your individual and collective efforts to build up rather than tear down, to assist rather than to ostracize, to connect rather than isolate, and to support rather than condemn or judge. We are here tonight to celebrate those efforts, to acknowledge all your hard work, and to express our sincere appreciation for all that you do, often beyond what is visible or known to the average layperson. Your actions ripple out to the broader community, providing benefits by enhancing public safety and reducing recidivism. Thanks to your efforts, we gain more productive members of society. Release conditions sometimes prohibit offenders from having contact with specific friends or groups that they associated with previously. This can cause feelings of isolation and inner conflict. And this is where CoSA truly shines. The work required is demanding and requires patience, determination, persistence, empathy, teamwork, collaboration, understanding, and above all, hope and compassion, which we've already heard a couple times tonight. That is why the work of CoSA volunteers is so admirable. We've also heard tonight about the budget, and it's no secret that Canada in general is facing some financial challenges, and we in the Correctional Service are no different. What I can say is that we are committed to continue working with CoSA and forging a new way forward. I want to acknowledge the strong working relationships CSC has had with CoSA in particular here in Pacific Region over many, many years. With that in mind, and on behalf of the Correctional Service of Canada, I would like to thank CoSA and all the volunteers again for your partnership in public safety. I would like to thank you for your passion and dedication and commitment in helping our federal offenders reintegrate back into society. The work that you do is so crucial and vital in helping make our communities a safer place. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Dennis, for your very thoughtful comments. Appreciate it. Father Mako. Father Mako is the chaplain of Mission Medium Institution, and we are privileged to have him as our board chairman for the past 22 years. He is committed to ensuring that CoSA's values and principles are adhered to, and comes to us tonight with a message from the board. Father Mako.
So we're among friends. So if I can make a little confession here. one of my guilty pleasures, usually on the way to work, is listening to political podcasts. I won't tell you which podcast. But one interviewee recently on one of the podcasts I listened to suggested that communal endeavors can be undertaken either modeled on Monopoly or Lego. Okay. If our efforts are modeled on Monopoly, it generally means that we want to get to a point where we own Park Place or Boardwalk. And we kind of wish for bad luck for others, that they land on our squares and have to pay up for rent. The well-being of one is at the expense of another. Or the interviewee said, perhaps our efforts together could be seen like playing with Lego. Okay. Various blocks, all playing their own role. So when I was a child, I spent hours, with really simple Lego, okay? A base plate, some gray rectangles, some red squares, and some white little dot pieces. Okay, that's all it was. But I could spend hours with those pieces and a folded piece of paper on top. An adult might say, oh, look, it's a cube with a piece of paper on top. But of course, it was a house. Yeah. Or the base plate with some of the pieces kind of attached to one another going off to the side. Well, of course, that's an airplane, okay, to my 4-year-old self. All it took were the right blocks and a bit of imagination. So it struck me, thinking about that, and then tonight's celebration, that each one of us, core members, volunteers, supporters, donors, each of us are essential blocks in building this program. Now, it is true that we're always in need of more blocks. The board is aware of that. The rectangle of a new volunteer, the square of grants and funders or donors, the unique color or shape of each core member seeking to bring out their best selves. We're always in need of those. But year after year, the board is privileged to see that the blocks are there. They somehow come together. And the efforts of everyone, combining shared vision and imagination, something gets built. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you all for joining in this effort of building together, in this corner of the world, something a little better. Starting with the idea that no one is disposable, and sharing and imagining that vision of a world in which there are no more victims. And so for joining in this, the work of imagination, this kind of Lego theory of working together on behalf of the board, thank you very much.
So now we've come to a special part of the evening, a time to hear from our volunteers and our core members. So our volunteers are people who believe that the core members can change and deserve their support. And the core members are dedicated and committed to turning their lives around. So first we're going to hear from the volunteers, and I'm going to invite Francis first, and then Mike, and then Christina. Let's give them a big hand and welcome them.
Thank you, Maureen. Good evening, everyone. I'm Francis, and I belong to 2 circles, And about a year ago, I was at my church at Mass, and after Mass, Father said, we have a guest speaker today with an interesting story. So we listened, and this lady got up, and she kept saying, CoSA, CoSA, and I thought, is that the Coast Guard, or what is it? And so she slowly developed what each letter stood for, and how the CoSA group was in need of volunteers. And so I listened, and she was wonderful. She just developed it like, do you think God would be calling you to help someone, to help them, turn their life around? And I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind doing that. So she said, if it speaks to you, then see me after Mass. So I did, and then I signed up, and then I had a little bit of training, and then I had my first circle group. And anyway, that during my training, something spoke to my heart. Somebody said, you better use your mind if you're going to be part of this circle. I thought, whoa. So I said, how about my heart? And she said, yeah, that would be okay. And they're all going, okay. So now, in the two circles, what I try to do, I realize I have to be my own volunteer type. Some are strong, some are really with it, and all I could do is kind of love them. Anyway, I've been a teacher all my life of little children, and so the love comes easily to me, but I started to contribute a little bit of common sense, and then I started to change myself. I realized my common sense was improving in a good way, and I was bringing some reality to my CM, and during the weekly circle meetings, I felt good. I felt like I had done a little bit, and I just started to respect my CM so much, and I love being in the circle because I have friends now, different kind of friends, and I want to thank God very much for allowing me to have this wonderful, wonderful little ministry. Thank you, God. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike, and I've been involved in this work in various contexts for several years. Engaging in this work has allowed me to give back and enriched my life in ways that I never anticipated. One of the most significant benefits of volunteering with CoSA has been the opportunity to develop my own understanding of empathy. As the famous author and civil rights leader Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. This quote resonates deeply with me, as I've learned that there is impact through intersecting with intention. I've learned to see core members not as mere labels or statistics, but as individuals with stories, individuals with struggles, individuals with aspirations. This shift in perspective has allowed me to connect as a human being at a human level, fostering compassion rather than judgment. My experience with CoSA has fostered a sense of community, both among fellow volunteers in my circle and the core members I've got to work with. I've come to appreciate the power of working with and working by core members as we have moved to build a strong community. Lastly, one of the most revealing aspects of volunteering is knowing that my efforts are making a real impact in the lives of the core members. Whether it's through listening or navigating spaces of tension around uncomfortable conversations, or simply offering support. I've seen how small acts of kindness can ignite hope. A virtue, as you all probably know, a lot of core members struggle to relate with. In closing, the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. Each success story, no matter how small, reinforces my deep belief that our time and efforts serving as volunteers can truly make a difference. Thank you.
Good evening, Your Grace, Archbishop Miller, sorry I didn't see you back there, and to all our special guests tonight, especially to all the core members who are here tonight. Thank you, Maureen, for inviting me tonight to speak about something that has been incredibly meaningful to me, my work as a CoSA volunteer. I came to CoSA about 7 or 8 years ago by way of the prison ministry. And like many other volunteers here, I'm sure, I wouldn't be here now if not for Maureen's, shall we say, gift of persuasion. She persevered for about 2.5 years to recruit me. And when the moment was right, I finally said yes. And that has been one of the best yeses I've said in my life. I will never forget the very first circle meeting I attended at night shift ministry. And the very real feeling of uncertainty and fear in my heart. Yet I left that meeting overcome with emotion. I knew then that this would be a transformative experience. And today, several years and many circles later, I can truly say that it has enriched my life in ways I never imagined. When I first began volunteering, I approached it with a genuine desire to make a difference in the lives of people who had faced unimaginable hardships, numerous challenges as they reintegrated into society, often feeling stigmatized, misunderstood, frustrated, and alone. I truly wanted to help, to show them that there is hope and that they have the ability to rebuild their lives. But what I quickly discovered was that in trying to help them, I was the one who would be changed. Through the years, I've come to realize that these individuals are not and should not be defined by their past mistakes. They are human beings who may have made poor decisions, but they are also capable of growth and redemption. Working with the core members has shown me the depth of their humanity and the strength it takes to rebuild a broken life after being incarcerated and living through the stigma of being branded a sexual offender. Where would one even begin? I have personally witnessed the courage it takes for them to embrace change, to learn new skills, to forgive others and themselves, to start over, and to push through barriers that might seem insurmountable. One of the most enriching aspects of this experience has been seeing the transformation in those I worked with. I've seen core members who at first struggled with confidence, trust, and even basic social skills grow into strong individuals taking on new opportunities. Whether it's finding stable employment, reconnecting with their families, or facing their own inner demons, I have seen how some have found the inner peace that they once thought was impossible. And each of these success stories has been a reminder of the power of second chances. But it's not just about them. Working alongside them has forced me to challenge my own assumptions and stereotypes. It's made me a more empathetic, patient, and understanding person. I've learned that we all make mistakes, and it's how we choose to move forward that truly matters. These individuals, in many ways, have taught me more about perseverance and grace than I could have ever anticipated. Just a few days ago, a core member thanked us and told us how very much he looked forward to our meetings because it was the only place he felt he could be himself and not be judged. The impact of statements like that, said out of gratitude and sincere appreciation, will stay with me for the rest of my life. The deep sense of fulfillment I get from this work is immeasurable. I feel true joy when someone I've worked with gets their first job after release, or when they tell me they've made amends with their family, when we celebrate their release anniversaries, or the removal of certain restrictions. Every small step towards becoming productive members of society. This incredibly enriching experience is not just about what I've been able to give, but much more about what I've received in return. The lessons about resilience, humility, redemption, accountability, the importance of compassion, and the profound impact of offering someone a second chance. Every step they take towards a better future is a reminder that I am truly privileged to be a part of something bigger than myself. Thank you.